The interaction between the brain and the hand intrigues me. Perhaps it's because I'm left-handed. I've always wondered why we use our hands differently. Dr. Gillian Forrester is a cognitive neuroscientist. She studies how we use our dominant and non-dominant hands.
We're watching the children's handedness behavior. We want to see if they're using their left or their right hand to do certain activities.
90% of the population are right-handed. Gillian has gathered together a group of right-handed children to observe how they use both their hands in everyday life.
We'd expect our right-handed kids to use the right hand when they're doing anything that's manipulating an object, for instance, throwing balls or writing with pencils. But what we're finding out, actually, is that it doesn't mean they use their right hand for all types of behaviors.
So what would they use their left hand for then?
Something that has a social or an emotional component, so they're dealing with a friend or themselves. The left hand comes into play a lot more during social interactions than we would have expected it to.
Her research has found that right-handed children use their left hand a lot for social actions. Gestures like hugs, pats on the back, or reaching out to a friend during play. To investigate this further, she set the children a challenging task. They have to move all the discs from peg to peg without placing a larger disc on top of a smaller one. And as they attempt this, Gillian observes how they use both their hands.
We're expecting to see that they will use the right hand as their dominant hand to move the discs or the rings from one peg to the other.
She has noticed that something interesting begins to happen when the children become confused or frustrated by the test.
What we're finding is that as a task becomes more complicated or the child experiences more stress, they're tending to get that left hand involved ever more. So they bring the hand to the face and...
Head scratching.
Absolutely.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Gillian sees the children using their left hand more when they experience strong emotion. And she thinks the reason might lie in the way the two hemispheres of the brain work. Each hemisphere controls the opposite side of the body. In simple terms, the left side of the brain, which deals with practical tasks, controls the right side of the body. And the right side of the brain, which deals with emotions, controls the left side of the body. It's believed this division developed so that each side of the brain could specialize in different types of behavior.
It's very advantageous because it means that you can perform two tasks at the same time. So, for example, the left hemisphere can help you control those structured sequences of actions like a feeding behavior, but at the same time, they can use that right hemisphere to keep them alert of predators. So they're essentially getting a parallel processing system.
And that aids survival.
Absolutely.
New studies suggest that the right side of our brain developed to deal with danger and unpredictable situations. So Gillian thinks this is why right-handers use their left hand when they're experiencing strong emotion or in social interactions. That's all very well, but what if you're left-handed like me?
Now, I'm a natural left-handed. Does that mean that my brain is wired up in a different way?
There's about 10% of the population that is left-handed, and within that 10%, about a third have the exact reversal of the brain that us right-handers have.
So it's like a flipped-over brain.
Yeah, exactly. So in the remaining 70% of left-handers, actually the brain is organized in the same way as right-handers. It's likely that there's some transference of signals between the hemispheres before information passes to the hand.
Though our brain may be wired to our hands in different ways, Gillian's work suggests that all of us may be using our non-dominant hand more than we realized. It responds to our emotional side, and may play an important part in our social lives.